Hi, you guys. Leanne Holitza here at the Healing Studio. You found me. All right, so we're going to do our weekly Oracle check-in. And of course, I've left my Oracle deck on the other side of the room. So here I go. Preparation. All right. All right, you guys. So I see you. Some of you know how to play this game. You just type me please in the card in the comments, and I will get you a card for the week. We're going to use the Shaman's Dream deck today. So for your personal readings, we always use the Yantra deck to get us started. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Leanne Holitza. I'm an energy healer and channel, and I do these oracle readings for you guys every week just to get us a temperature of what our week's going to be like. My week starts on Sunday, so... All right, let's get started with this. Is our collective reading first, and then we'll do a 1, 2, 3. And you're going to feel into that, and you're going to get your first card there, whether you're watching later or live. And then you're going to have the ability to get your own card. If you stick around, you might actually hear what a theme for the week is, because when we get cards 3 times in a row, that typically means it's for all of us. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, so attention, being here and now, a little sideways. This is like distraction energy. This is like you're being distracted. Not necessarily busy, just trying to, play games on your phone or watching TikToks or hanging out with me on YouTube. How ironic, right? So helper card for the week to focus on. Embrace sideways. This says loving unconditionally. And what this is asking you to do is intentionally be kind to yourself and others. Go out of your way to show unconditional love and support where you genuinely mean it. Okay. So be in that space where you can offer this whenever you can. It's even just like a hug to a friend or a compliment to a stranger or something like that, just kind of really focusing on embracing unconditionally. End of the week, we got awareness sideways. So what this is basically saying is that when we are looking at awareness and observing, we're being asked to get a little bit more of a perspective. So what I mean by that is, looking at one point in the room and then letting your vision kind of notice the periphery, right? That's a metaphor for what's being asked. Just zoom out a little bit by the end of the week, being an awareness of not just what you care about, but what might be going on as a whole. Okay? All right, let's see what we got going on here. All right. So I'm going to come down the list, you guys. So I do typically get through the whole list, but I would recommend trying to hang out for the whole half hour if you can, because some juicy bits come out, and maybe you'll hear a message that resonates for you. This deck does not do reverse, so we will just be reading everything in the upright. Okay, so take a moment. 1, 2, 3. Which one feels right to you? 1, 2, or 3? All right, if you picked 1, you're going to be dancing on one foot. It's going to be a balancing act week. It's going to be really important for you to pay attention to the balancing act, because it only takes one ball to make them all fall in the juggling act, right? So this is very much about paying attention to your own balance, especially the balance of your health. Feast of Plenty. Choices and their consequences. Okay. So this one is basically saying, go ahead and do the thing, but understand that when you make a choice, there will be consequences and pathways that will happen because of those choices. That's not a threat, it's a guarantee. And so this is just saying, notice that no matter what you choose, there's going to be plenty to be with. Okay. And there's a little bee in this card. So, all right. If you picked 3, you got skywriting the fates. Okay. So sometimes we're in a fated kind of space where no matter what we choose or do, we're going to head in a specific direction that's already been kind of decided before we incarnated. So this week, just paying attention to signs, paying attention to destiny, energies, paying attention to opportunity. Say yes to opportunity. Okay. All right, let's get started. All right, so I'm going to start at the top of the list. So I see you all. Hi, everybody. And Selma, yes, you may be included in the list. I will take that as a me, please. But in case anybody's watching who hasn't been here before, all you have to do is type me, please, in the comments, and you will get a card. All right, Kimberly, you're first. Kimberly S., you're working with the benefactor. Okay, so grace and generosity. You can snuggle into the king who will give you your riches. You can enjoy the benefactor of your own life and how you have supported your family and what that looks like when it comes back and to support you. Okay. Kelly and Matthew. Kelly, you got a little bit of spiritual narcolepsy going on. So the fallen angel, sometimes this can indicate that you are doing spiritual practices, but just kind of in a habitual way rather than feeling way. So this card is just kind of asking you to notice where you maybe have gotten a little asleep with your connection to the divine. Matthew, you're working with caterpillar opportunity. Okay, so this is like when you take an exponential leap, you get another exponential leap. I mean, at first it feels like, seems like it's going to take forever to get anywhere, but actually it builds on itself fairly quickly. So just take those opportunities, okay? Heidi M., you're going to be working with the jeweled web this week, connectivity. So networking, getting with your friends on purpose, having lunches with people that you haven't seen in a while, make a phone call, reach out, okay? All those things matter. Alaska, Cynthia, you are working with lay of the land. So some ancestral wisdom, okay? So perhaps working with ancient spirituality practices, your own ancestries, what traditions you kind of could revive or carry through to make the week feel like you are embracing it. Janelle and Donnie. Janelle. Crown games, right use of power. Okay. So this is kind of a caution and a positive that says be careful that you don't manipulate or be manipulated. Higher truths are really important when the Crown Games card comes. So it's top of the head. It's where your higher self comes in. So just acknowledging that your higher self might be wanting to reset a little bit of its own authority. Donnie, you're working on tidy house, clarity and organization. So maybe just get in there and get into the garage and clean it out, or your closet and clean it out, even if it's clean. Just go and see if there's anything that you definitely will never use again and get rid of it or give it away. You'll feel better. Kara, Tatiana, Kai, and Kenzie. Okay, Kara, if you picked 2 at the beginning, they're doubling down. Feast of Plenty. Choices and consequences. Okay, so what you keep choosing is what you're going to keep getting. Okay, so just kind of acknowledging that if you make a different choice, that will be a different pathway. So either way, there'll be lots of options and opportunity, whichever choices you make. Tatiana, you got wailing tree. So this is reconciliation. Feel your feels this week. Know where your feelings have been hurt. It's okay to admit that your feelings have been hurt, because sometimes it's feedback people need. All right. Kai, I shuffled. You got the wailing tree too. All right, maybe you two could need to work it out with each other. I don't know. Well, just kind of go into where your feelings are hurt and talk through it. Let yourself know, yeah, this does kind of hurt. It's okay. We all get our feelings hurt once in a while. Kenzie, you are straddling worlds, okay? So you're wandering between realms. This could be that having to choose between certain things, or feeling like, you're coming out of being a little kid and being into a big kid, or, just kind of in between spaces, right? So, all right, Elizabeth Z, you got the joyful muse. Just have some fun. Just play, paint, enjoy, be silly, be messy, all the things. Janelle, you want one card for your sister? Okay, sister card. Get stranger, curiosity. Okay, so get curious about new people. get into noticing where there might be some energy of feeling like strangers are something you've been avoiding. Maybe don't avoid, maybe lean into that and see the new opportunity. Stephanie R. You got the magician sword. So confidence in your own magic, okay? Your own thoughts, your own internal dialogue, the way that you sound to yourself in your head, that's your magic. So use it wisely, okay? Use it at nice tone of voice. Eli and Taryn. Eli, you got dream thief, refusal to the call. So this is probably something about not not necessarily seeing a change might be good for you, or that you could be sharing more of your gifts or your time. And it's, or, there could be something stealing your time too. So focusing on whatever might be stealing your time. Okay, Taryn, you got tidy house, clarity and organization. Second time we've seen this, you guys might see it 3 times. This is basically you'll feel better if you go clean up your house. If you unload your baggage, if you had to move tomorrow, what would you not take with you, kind of thing. Okay. All right, Alexis B and Travis. Alexis, you've got repairing the veil. So this is a forgiveness week for you. And sometimes forgiveness is just understanding that both sides can be true. Your feelings could be hurt and they could have thought they were doing their best. Okay. So a little bit of rewriting the story this week. Travis, you got the cosmic womb energy. So this is asking you to lean into the divine feminine, where you came from, your mother, your maternal energies, the beginning of things, giving things time to gestate, not rushing. Okay. Being. Diane S. You've got mindful. Okay. So this is about groupthink for good or for bad. Just go in and see if you can figure out where you might be getting sucked into the way everyone else is thinking. This is a high time for a lot of influence and not necessarily positive influence about certain ways to think. So this groupthink is like choose your groups wisely so that you can get influenced by the positive and the optimistic. Okay. Not the delusional optimistic, but just, they're grounded. Lisa, you've got Moon Maiden, which is new beginnings. Okay. And this one starts from within. Okay. So sometimes it's not an outward action until it's an inward one. And it begins to grow into something that you are seeing yourself in a different light and moving yourself into alignment with it. Tiff, you got Root Girl. Okay. So this is about going and figuring out where your disowned self is. A lot of times this is inner child work. It also can be work to where you've chosen somebody else over yourself. And just kind of go and reclaim it. Have a little ritual, have a little ceremony of support for yourself. Tanya B, you're going to work with stranger energy too. Okay, so this is kind of the opportunities could be in the new meetings, okay? And the people that you haven't figured out yet who they are, what they're about. Lean in and be curious. Ask questions. Okay, vanilla and pie. Sounds yummy. Oh, you brought the wailing tree on a 3 times its charm. So what this means is that this card is for all of us, you guys. Okay, so we saw this card with Cars family. We're going to wailing tree now. So I'm going to read a little bit of what Colette wrote so that we can get a little more wisdom here. Because if this is our focus, you look at this card, it's a little rough, okay? All right. So it says grief and mourning, time of necessary losses and reconciliation. When you encounter the wailing tree on your path, it's an invitation to stay a while and regroup. A place for you to rest and allow yourself to say goodbye to no longer serves. You may have been overdoing things, working too hard, or putting too much effort into life with little reward. If you've been considering making a change, now is the time to do so. Okay? So time to make that change, time to feel the pain of letting go of some things. That's for all of us. Christy, Lisa, and Kira. Christy, first breath, beginner's mind. Okay, so go back to kindergarten this week in your mind. Go back to learning something new as if you didn't understand it. Okay, you thought you knew and you didn't know. Go back to that. Lisa, you've got the perfect storm. Okay, so that's gonna bring you into courage to step into your own life. It's going to be like this happens and that happens and it leads to this and it's good. It's all good. But it's going to be a perfect storm. Just step in. Kira, you've got the wall. So you're going to encounter maybe some obstacles this week. That's just a weather forecast. It's nothing terrible. It's just basically saying like it's going to rain, take your coat kind of thing. So just know that this week might feel a little bit extra. All right. Let's see. Okay, Selma, I got to you. Here we go. Ready? You got the Horseman, Herald of Change. Basically, this is an announcement that things are going to change in a big way for you now, starting now. These cards are focusing on this week. So this week, let the change come in. Sometimes we get afraid of change or we hold things in place too long. Just encouraging you to let the change in. The heralding part is the part where it's like, yes, this is great. Kalina, you're straddling worlds, wandering between realms. Okay, so this is putting yourself on notice about the fact that you are, in between spaces. Sometimes the in between can be super uncomfortable, and just giving yourself a little grace with that uncomfortableness. Okay. All right. Here we keep going down the list here. Melissa and Shannon. Melissa, you've got eyes of the eagle. So you want to rise above the fray. Remember when I said at the beginning, you're kind of noticing a single point and then you're zooming out your perspective. That's an actual mindful act, is to just gaze up high in the room at some point and then notice around you. That would be a good thing to do to kind of get your nervous system seeing a different picture. Shannon, you got the same card. All right, so you guys can zoom out together, okay, in partnership of trying to see what else is going on here and where are our mutual goals and where are we meeting them in different ways. Okay. All right, Robin, Chris, and Austin. Robin, you got mindful, group think. Okay. Now this card, is really beautiful, but you can see there's like time and there's all kinds of things kind of in the card that just could be taking up a lot of your space. And some of it's put there by somebody else. So just kind of set some intention. One of the good practices for the day is when you wake up in the morning to set, 3 or 4 true intentions for the day, whether it be how you feel or what you want to get done, and know that there's probably another 4 or so that are trying to happen. Give yourself space for that. Okay, Chris, you got perfect storm. Second time we've seen this, so watch out. We got the wailing tree and the perfect storm. The courage to step into life. So this is kind of like you have no choice. It's time to step up. Step up. It's kind of like, when it's like jump or be taken over by the lava kind of thing. Nice metaphor, I know, but it's time to go ahead and do it, and you'll have a perfect storm to allow it to happen. Austin, you're being asked to pay attention to ancestral wisdom, okay? So perhaps getting into, understanding your ancestors more, a little family tree energy, asking for some stories so that you can understand kind of where you came from. Okay, Max, you got the dream thief, okay? So the refusal to the call, second time we've seen this one. This is what is sucking up your time that maybe isn't necessarily valuable, because the dream thief is basically saying, you're giving a lot of your dream time away, your flow state away to worry and concern, where you can give yourself a little acknowledgement that you could take that back by choice if you wanted. Okay, Anita B, you got the wall, which is obstacles. Second time we've seen that one. You guys, that's just it can be a forecast. Just like there's rain, just expect that there's going to be some obstacles this week. Obstacles sometimes are fun to work through. They actually can sometimes be, you've all played with obstacle courses, right? Sometimes it can be the thing that just kind of is fun to get around. Hannah and Sierra. Hannah, you got a sky bridge. Okay, so this is possibility for a union. This could be a partnership in business or love. It can be a partnership with yourself on a stronger level. So just being aware that there might be an invitation to that, and it might be a good thing to say, yes, thank you to. Sierra, you got the cosmic womb, okay? And so the cosmic womb of the divine feminine, basically this is saying, let things gestate, don't force things. It also can mean divine feminine energy of going back and honoring the mother, the maternal energy. It can be good for coming to yourself as an idea of being in a motherhood state. So, okay, Denise. Willow the wisp, treasure hidden in the shadows. Okay, so this is being willing to see that things can be hard and difficult and also have treasure. So things can be, appear to be very challenging and be a huge gift. That's what this week's going to be, looking for those gifts in the shadows. Okay, Jenny V, you got the crossing. Okay, so you got the initiation energy. Basically, it's like time to step into something that you've been talking about stepping into, but maybe you haven't quite yet. And just this is the week of initiation to it. All right. I have come to the bottom of the list. If you are hanging out and have not typed me, please, in the comments, and you would like a card, please do so. So far, all we've got for 3 times the charm is our wailing tree. But I'm going to do a card for my husband because that always gives us an opportunity to get a 3rd time and just give him some insight. Okay, so this what says, this was the 2nd time we've seen this one, skywriting in the fates. Okay, so this card is basically saying that, some of this stuff is just destiny this week. Some of this stuff is fate. It has nothing to do with your choices. It might be already just in the plan, in the works. Okay. All right, you guys. So this is the primary card, the wailing tree. So I'm going to read a little bit more of it since we have a little bit of time to do that. Okay, because I think this one is, since it's the only card coming out, it really wants us to focus on it. It says, one important thing to consider before you make any changes is that you need to allow yourself to feel disappointment, your loss, and mourn for what was and could not be. This is a way to honor your experience, to give yourself time to consider all the gifts in it, to put proper closure on it, and really know what you've learned as you walk away from it and into something new. Even in the perception of failure, there is much good to be discovered. However, skipping the stages of loss doesn't get you reconciliation any faster. In fact, you will discover that what you have to come back to at some point. So do it now, look at it all squarely and honestly, and stay with your feelings. Life is not either or, both and, this and that. So as you dive into the process, allow it to become a temporary travel companion on your journey. The feelings that this will bring into your surface will be challenging for sure, yet like all things, they will pass soon enough, and you will be more enriched in the experience. Okay, I got you. Sending you all some good energy for a little grief work this week that must be done, it sounds like. All right, I hope you guys have a great week. I should be here next week, same time, same place. If you want to find me, you can always hit subscribe and the bell button, and it should tell you when I come on. All right. For now, go be amazing.